All right, so we're gonna just break the ice with some simple questions.
Sounds
Where
good.
did you grow up, Taylor?
I am born and raised in Birchwood, Wisconsin.
All right. And what is your favorite season?
Definitely fall.
Oh, yes, I agree with that. Wish it was longer though. We only have like 2 weeks of fall.
Yeah, well, also, I just don't like how I just love fall because I think that my favorite like holidays are during that time, other than Christmas. I do love Christmas, but I like how fall has Halloween and Thanksgiving, which is my favorite. So that's why I like it the most.
Same. Okay, who has inspired you most in your life?
I would say both of my parents for different reasons. My mom, just because, like, I don't know, I feel like she has gone through a lot in her life, and seeing like where she is now just shows me that you can get through anything if you put your mind to it. And then my dad, I would say, like, my mom is hardworking, but my dad shows me like a different side of being hardworking and what you do when you put your mind to things. So I would say both my parents.
That's awesome. Um, what are the most important lessons you've learned in your life?
Oh god.
It's a deeper question.
I don't know, like, right now, I'm really working on, like, self-care and, like, stepping back, and I think what I've learned most right now, especially in, like, quarantine and how life has changed right now, is that, like, I'm putting energy towards things that also give me positive energy back, so not wasting time on things that either don't help me grow or are just toxic, I am just letting go of. So,
That's
that's what I'm learning right now.
that's awesome. I feel like a lot of people are going through that stage right now too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We all need it.
Yeah, for sure. If you could have lunch with anyone, who would it be?
It's not a famous person. Honestly, it's my grandma Donna. She passed away when I was younger, and so, like, I don't really remember anything about her. I hear all, like, the stories of everything and how she was just a phenomenal woman, but, like, I just wish, like, now at the age that I am, that I could have lunch with her.
That is so cool. That's awesome. All right,
Mm.
so now we're kind of diving into like the questions that they really want us to focus on. So the first
Let's
one
do it.
is, what has been the most significant change you've experienced from being involved in this program and project?
I would say my biggest thing is just being like a leader and an advocate for mental health. Like before, I understood it. I occasionally talked about it, but like now I know how to tell my story effectively based on like all of the things that we've done with Connected. Um, I also just feel like I have the tools and like the knowledge of my own personal story to be able to help others. So I think that honestly being a better advocate in the field of mental health has been like the biggest change since starting this journey.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that too. Can you see like how your growth has helped other people like
Yeah,
understand?
well, and also just like being able to help people, like knowing how to talk about mental health myself and like telling people that like you're not alone, that I think has been like a really big part of it. So just being able to help other people, it's been great.
That's so cool. So how will this change affect you in the future?
I I think the biggest thing is like I don't know, just being able to help more people. I like college is hard and just being able to talk to other people and like they know my story because I don't shy away from it. Mental health shouldn't be something that's shied away from. And
Mhm.
so I think like even my friends now talk to me about their mental health and like it's just creating a more welcoming environment. So I think that in a bigger world, like I'd like to see that happen with more people. So I'm just going to keep talking about mental health and see
That's
where it goes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like it's so hard to find people that are like honest about their lives and not
Yeah.
afraid to show the rough sides of themselves. That's super cool.
Yeah. So we gotta start somewhere.
Yep, true that. Okay, how did you first learn about the Connected Project?
I learned, I don't know if, I think it was junior year, maybe. But my guidance counselor had talked about the opportunity that like Washburn County had for a grant, and that it was on mental health, and that she knew that I was trying to like expand my leadership skills and just talking about mental health more with people. So she was like, you'd be a perfect fit for this. I'm going to sign you up as long as you're okay with it. Like, so if they do get the grant, they're going to contact you about being involved in it. And so then she called me later and she was like, they got it. You kind of have to do like this interview thing. And so I submitted everything and then I got to talk with some of the connected people. And then I got in and I had no idea what it would turn into. I thought I was just going to be like this panel thing where I would like answer questions honestly about mental health. And then I got way more out of it than I ever could have imagined. So
Yeah, that's so cool. I didn't realize that actually.
yeah, so here we are.
Yeah, it grew into a lot bigger than what you thought then.
Yeah. The next thing I knew, they're like, well, you're going to where do we go for our first thing? Wasn't it the big conference? And I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what, Nashville? We're going to Nashville? First time I'd ever been away from my parents. First time, it was just a lot of firsts.
So cool. Yeah, that's like when I was asked to go to Denver, I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Like literally a couple
crazy.
weeks after like I was just involved. Like we're already going to Denver. This is so cool. Oh
Yeah,
man.
jump right in.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your why behind the work that you do for Connected? Like what makes you passionate about it?
I would say my own personal story with mental health has been a big push. Knowing that, like, growing up in middle school and not really feeling like I not not feeling like other people knew how I felt and like just feeling alone. And so I just want to be able to help with you guys, like showing kids that you're not alone and like these are the things that you should work on so then you feel better about yourself and you know your mental health and just getting those resources out to kids is crucial. And so and also just like knowing family members of mine that have mental health struggles but grew up in a generation and time where like you didn't talk about it, and so just reaching also those older generations in our community is a big piece for me because I know what it looks like to see family members struggle but not know what they're going through because they don't know how to talk about it. So just advocating for people and letting them know that they're not alone is probably my big piece.
That's awesome. That's cool that you can tie in like your personal experience with that. I
Yeah.
feel like that really drives it forward. Okay. Describe your community today and what do you love about it and what would you change?
I would say Washburn County as a whole, because I feel like even though the towns that are within Washburn County are a little bit different, majority wise, they're pretty similar.
Mm.
But I would say they're very rural. Um, there's a little bit diversity, but not much. So I think that that is probably one of the cons is that it's very hard to talk about certain things because it, you don't feel like it applies to you or you feel like you are very outcast. Um, but I would say that we're in the stages for our community of like learning about different struggles like mental health, just getting the word out there about certain things that they resources that they can go to. Um, what I do love about being in our community is the small town feeling. I love being able to build close relationships with a lot of people there. I just love that I know a lot of people in my community. Um, but I would like to change kind of the closed minded feeling that a lot of people have in our community because they don't see a lot of that diversity and what the world has to offer. So that would be my biggest change. And just having people like the closed mindedness also with the how they can't share their feelings and their struggles. I feel like a lot of, I went to this before, but like the generations not being able to like express their struggles because they grew up in a time where that wasn't allowed, or like the small town feeling where like you can't share your struggles because you're nervous that your neighbor down the road is going to know about it and then everybody's going to know about it. And so I just wish that we would change that attitude.
That is so real. Yeah. I feel like everybody around us, like, we're kind of told just to hide our feelings or just kind of buck up, deal with it, you know?
Yeah. And I just wish we would change that and have people realize that, like, even though we are from a small community, like, everybody goes through these things. Everybody has different challenges in their life. So I'm hoping with our Healthy Minds curriculum that can help things.
Yes, that is the hope. Okay, so you kind of alluded to how you would describe your community, but like, what does your community mean to you?
I would say that the community is my foundation for how I have been brought up in a lot of ways. I think that even though there are some things that our community needs to work on, just like every community, the community has allowed me to, I'm going to allude to like the school community, but the community in general. But my school, being in a small school setting, has allowed me to grow in my leadership skills, be involved in so many clubs that I probably would not have been able to in a bigger school or bigger community. Building those relationships with people in my school and my community that has helped me get to college, and just building all of those things. I think that being from a small community of Birchwood, I have been allowed numerous opportunities that I would have never even imagined would happen. So I think that my community is literally my backbone, other than my parents. Just made me who I am today.
Okay, a question kind of just popped in my head like when you said that. Um, do you think like this might sound weird, I don't know, but do you think like the smaller rural areas have more like chances to get involved with their community because there's not as many like kids to do it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I definitely think that.
mm,
I compare it to like a bigger school by us, is that you have to have tryouts, or you have
yeah,
to be very good to do certain things. Whereas coming from a small school, if you have an interest in doing something, you will be able to do it because one, there's probably not enough people if they did tryouts, but you have the opportunity to do so many things. I think I was involved in 13 to 14 extracurricular activities in high school because I had the opportunity to. And
mhm,
sports, I was two-sport athlete. Like most of the time, you don't see that in bigger schools.
exactly.
Just having a one-on-one relationship with a lot of my teachers who I would consider really good friends now. You just don't really get that in a bigger school. And so I really like how Birchwood and a lot of the Washburn County schools, like you get that opportunity. And my relationship with my guidance counselor allowed me to be a part of the Connected Project because she knew that I was pushing for more mental health awareness. And I can't guarantee that that would have happened in a bigger school.
That's so cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, well, I guess we kind of covered that one. What was a time when you felt like you truly belonged to your community?
I it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a weird example, but like the first thing that popped into my head was sports. And so Birchwood is a small school and community. And the we don't get to go to like a lot of like upper level like state sectional like sporting things. We don't usually make it that far.
Yeah,
Um
neither does here.
but we like the one, I think it was my sophomore year of volleyball and softball. And both times for those seasons that year, we made it like the farthest that we had made it in a very long time. And just the community support and like everybody coming to the games, and then like a community pep rally where like everybody was there. And it was just like van buses being like escorted into town by the fire department, just like the total support of the community and just involvement and like feeling as one. It's a great feeling. And yeah, those were the first things that came into my head when you
I love it. That's awesome.
yeah.
When was that?
Well, it was sophomore years,
Oh,
so like 2016.
wow. That's awesome. I don't
Yeah.
think that's happened in Spooner for quite some time. Like,
Yeah, it's just I just love the community support. It's
hmm,
great.
that's so cool. Um, hmm. I think we've kind of touched on a lot of these, but um, I guess we'll kind of jump back to this one. So, is there a particular story that stands out in your mind when you think of the Connected Project? Like, is there something that you'll probably always remember about it?
The first thing that comes into my head is Animo.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I just that I honestly feel like that one word just describes like the entire process of it all. Like, I don't know, I just think that it encompasses in our like connected project learning sessions and like talking about our stories and learning about ourselves and then going into the big group and talking about how we're going to bring it all back into our communities. So yeah, good old Animo.
That's awesome.